Want to support the show? There are several ways to do that. One is to give us a 5-star rating to help people find us. Another is to become a patron of our show. We also have a store where we have amazing merch designed by Ashton Green and Coda. Follow the link in the description below and enjoy the episode. Hi, welcome to the Dartarian Show. I'm Alexander Dartarian.
And I'm Dominic Sykes, and I am back.
Yep, and thank you to Trey, who did a wonderful job with those two parts, the first two episodes of Season 5 with Eileen Warnos. It was really good working with her.
Yeah, it was excellent. I really enjoyed listening to that. And big thank you for covering for me on that, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Today, we're going to do a July 4th episode, because July 4th is Monday, so I wanted to do some things that revolve around the nation's birthday.
Independence Day themed stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to start off with some historical facts about the 4th.
Okay.
Speaking of, I don't know why we celebrate the July 4th. It's not even when the Declaration was even signed.
Neither most of the U.S.'s holidays aren't actually the days that they're supposed to be, like Christmas. I hate to offend, any of our Christian listeners, but
that's not really an
Jesus'
American
birthday.
holiday.
I know. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
As world holidays then.
Yeah.
But
do you know what day it was actually signed?
No.
August 2nd.
Really?
Yep.
Why didn't they just...
It was convened, the Continental Congress reconvened on July 1st, and the following day, 12 of the 13 colonies adopted Lee's resolution for independence.
Right.
So basically, the independence, the Declaration of Independence its goals were to rally the troops, win foreign allies, and announce the creation of a new country. The introductory sentence states that the Declaration's main purpose to explain to colonies the right to revolution.
Right.
So basically, it was a document that
the American people were saying, hey, we are no longer going to be ruled
absolutely
by tyranny.
It was literally saying, hey, King George, we're tired of your stuff.
Yeah.
Like, we're tired. We're not paying for your wars when we don't, you're not giving us proper representation.
Yeah.
Also, with the Declaration of Independence, the one that's in Washington, D.C. on display is not the original draft of it.
Somehow that doesn't surprise me.
It's a copy of a copy. It's basically for ceremonial.
Where's the original at, then?
The original?
We don't know.
No.
Huh.
I mean, I'm sure it's out there somewhere, but
yeah.
It's a copy of a copy. It was literally, they got together and wrote it and signed it for...
display
purposes.
Or historical.
Yeah, historical purposes. Most of them were written and copied down and given to each state to hang up in their capitals so people could come and read them.
Right.
So 56 people signed the Declaration of Independence.
Mm-hmm.
5 signers were captured by the British as traitors and tortured before they died.
Wow. Which 5 were those?
It doesn't say.
12
had their homes ransacked and burned. 2 lost their sons in the Revolutionary Army. Another had 2 sons captured. 9 of the 56 fought and died from wounds or hardships of the Revolutionary War.
So they definitely put their money where their mouth is when it came to that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
They definitely put themselves at big risks to...
They were regarded as traitors.
Yeah, by the British.
Yeah, by the British.
But look what happened.
Carter Braxton of Virginia, a wealthy planter and trader, saw his ships swept from the seas by the British Navy. He sold his home and properties to pay his debts and died in rags.
Man, so it sounds like they didn't have a happy ending.
Yeah, these are the fathers of our country.
Yeah.
The founding fathers. Thomas McKean was so hounded by the British that he was forced to move his family almost constantly. He served in the Congress without pay, and his family was kept in hiding. His possessions were taken from him, and poverty was his reward.
Wow.
Vandals or soldiers or both looted the properties of Elray, Claymore, Hall, Walton, Gwinnett, Hayward, Rutledge, and Middleton. At the Battle of Yorktown, Thomas Nelson Jr. noted that the British General Cornwallis had taken over the Nelson home for his headquarters.
I think I did know that.
Yep. The owner quietly urged General George Washington to open fire. The home was destroyed, and Nelson died bankrupt. So those are a few of the 56.
They pretty much were like, okay, well, obviously, we're going to have to make sacrifices in order to make this happen. So everybody that signed that knew probably what they were going to get into. But it just sucks that they all had to have such shit lives for everything that they did,
Yeah.
And obviously, I'm not saying that, they were all good.
Yeah. I mean, they weren't. And if you look back in our history, pretty much almost all of them had slaves.
Right.
That's pretty much the long or the short of it.
Yeah, not a proud part of our history, but part of it regardless.
No. Yeah, it is part of our history, and it's an important part to talk about because it is such a dark past in our history, slavery and everything. But every founding father owned slaves. There's no way around it. So, I mean, yes, they were the founders of our country, but they were not innocent. And yes, they did sacrifice everything to give to our country. But just because you sacrifice stuff doesn't make you an automatically good person.
Right.
I mean, Gandhi was supposed to be a great person, and he let his wife die of a sickness that he could have gave her medicine for.
Yeah.
Got the same sickness and gave himself medicine.
Yeah, that's pretty shitty.
So like I said, great men just have just as many flaws as normal people.
Yeah.
Some urban legends that surround the 4th of July. John Hancock and Bull Story. When John Hancock affixed his famously large signature to the Declaration of Independence.
Why did he sign it so large? Just like...
Yeah, he proclaimed, "There, I guess King George will be able to read that." The real story or inventable historic legend. So basically he signed it because he wanted the king to read it without his spectacles.
Yeah.
But they don't think that really happened. He just signed it. That's how big he signed his signature.
Yeah. Just a coincidence. That's funny, though. That's
George Washington's vision. George Washington's account of an angel who revealed a prophetic vision of America to him at Valley Forge was popular in the mid-19th century. These are all urban legends, so they pretty much probably didn't happen.
Right.
But there was a story about this is the reason why he attacked at night. He crossed the Delaware and he saw a vision of an angel who gave him the vision of America in the future and stuff. And that's why he warned us about in-party fighting, because he knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Huh.
Like I said, it was one of those things that like happened years after.
I don't know. That's interesting, though.
Yeah. No Way, No J. Why does Washington, D.C. have a no J Street? Legend holds it's because city designer Pierre L'Enfant bore a grudge against Chief Justice John Jay.
So he just put a street.
No, he put no J Street, which I didn't.
Oh, did not put a J Street. Okay,
we don't have a J Street. I don't think.
Well, lots of places don't. I'm sure. It's just
to
say it was a slap in the face.
Name, no street name that starts with a J. Washington D.C. does not have any street that starts with a J.
Wow.
So,
that is weird.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess, but I'm sure
kind of a long way to go for a grudge.
I know, for real. Like, how dare you? Linked list. Photographs show a mass re-enlistment ceremony held in Iraq on the 4th of July in 2008.
What?
So basically, in 2008, again, we were doing war on terrorism and stuff, and there was a leaked photo of a re-enlistment thing on 4th of July. So basically, they re-enlisted the people, the military people, with or without their mission. I'm not really sure, because it is an urban legend, but because they can't prove if it's real or not,
right?
The photo, but they re-enlisted the people that were in Iraq without their permission.
Wow, that's messed up.
On the 4th of July.
That is, if that's true, that's
it's true.
Really
it's horrible,
messed up.
And it's a mass re-enlistment ceremony.
Yeah. I honestly wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't.
I know. It's weird, but I think by 2008 we were kind of like were really done with the Iraq
Oh
War.
God, yeah.
We were completely done, and it didn't even end until last year.
Yeah, not really. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, the war.
It really wasn't a war anymore. It was more like a
The war pretty much.
Occupation.
The war pretty much. I think ended when Osama
it was
was killed. But
I don't even think it took like a year for us to do that. White House wash. Washington lore claims the White House obtained its name because it was repainted white after invading British troops burned it
down
in 1814.
yeah, so that's an urban legend.
I
thought-
I would say so.
I
'Cause they did
thought
burn. They did burn it down. I don't know if they burned it down to the ground, but I do know that that's why it was painted
I was
white.
going to say it's been burnt down multiple times throughout history. I thought.
Yeah, it was not. It did not start out white.
Right.
So
That would be so weird, though. Like envisioning it as anything else but the White House. You know,
yeah,
it's been the White House forever.
yeah, since 1814. Declaration of Financial Independence. A lucky bargain hunter became a millionaire after finding an original print of the Declaration of Independence in a frame of an old painting.
Nick Cage. He's got to get on that.
Yeah,
National Treasure 3.
I don't think that there was a I don't know. I don't think there was a treasure map underneath it.
Probably not.
So
I don't think treasure really is a thing much at all if you think about it. Like, because as we learned, pirates didn't really bury their treasure. You know, outlaws in the Wild West would sometimes, but not very often.
I know there was a time when they thought Al Capone. They thought they found Al Capone's secret vault, and it was a big thing. And it was Gerardo Rivera on whatever channel he was on.
There's something about a
but they
treasure hunt
found
that
it.
just like
Yeah, people want
Yeah.
it. I mean, they just came
even
out
if
with
they
a new
even
show.
if they don't want to participate in it, they want to watch it.
Yeah, they want it's everybody's dream.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to find
That
something,
treasure or win
yeah.
that lottery or Yeah.
Yeah. 3 presidents, U.S. presidents, died on July 4th.
Really?
Yeah. John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, and James Monroe.
Huh.
Adams and Jefferson had a close friendship early in life,
Right.
but politics drove them apart.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they did manage to reconcile before they died.
No, that's good.
In fact, Adams' last words were, "Jefferson still survives."
Aw.
Of course, Jefferson had passed away previously in the day.
Oh no!
But
he
Adams,
didn't know that.
But Adams didn't know that. Yeah.
It's cool though that he died thinking that
that
Jefferson
he
would survive him and still.
I wonder
you know,
if Jefferson's last words were, "Oh, Adams still lives."
that would have been cool.
That would have been cool too. Like they thought about each other and
Yeah.
stuff. So, some signers of the Declaration ended up in prison or mental institutions
Why?
because
though?
they couldn't pay their dets.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's where
That's
the
so
people
messed up.
went.
They should
Yeah.
have a. They should probably should have had an exemption. I think you'd think, you know.
Absolutely, and a lot of the signers of the Declaration of Independence have been lost and forgotten in history. Like
Yeah.
most of them, we don't even know where they're buried.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. The only person I really remember off the top of my head is Hancock
Yeah,
as a sign. Obviously, you know, Jefferson, Franklin, those, but you know, you really there were a lot of people that signed the Declaration of Independence, and I certainly couldn't name all of them.
I couldn't either. I know the presidents, of course, who really that, like, you know, Thomas Jefferson, of course, George Washington, Benjamin Franklin wasn't a president, but he was very
Right,
influential, especially with foreign politics.
Oh yeah, he was huge in the Louisiana Purchase.
That was Thomas Jefferson.
Oh, was it?
Yeah,
Are you sure?
yeah,
Well, now I feel like an idiot. Well, he did something with a key and a kite. We'll just
yeah. He didn't invent electricity,
no,
but he did realize that if you fly a kite in a storm with a key on the end of it, you're gonna get struck by lightning.
He did invent bifocals though.
Yes, he was a great inventor, and I would really like to cover him one day because
There's
he
also-
did have a
I was
dark
gonna say,
history.
there's a lot of dark history behind him too, with
Absolutely.
Freemasons and a bunch of
Cults.
other stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, sex cult in France. So, everything that we know about basically the Independence Day is really
propaganda.
Yeah, it's propaganda, really is. As I said, they didn't even know that Thomas Jefferson was the author of the Declaration of Independence. No one knew until the 1790s.
Really?
Yeah. So he wrote this in 1776. No one even knew that he wrote it until the 1790s.
I need to go back and pay and learn some more history because it's.
I think most people now get their history from like Hamilton.
Yeah,
the Broadway musical.
That's it makes me kind of worry because what if people are getting their history from us and we certainly don't know any better.
Yeah, I mean, well, we do a little bit of research here and there, and we try. But when I said that the actual one that's in the archives, the National Archives, that was penned August 2nd.
Okay.
That was signed. Most historians agree. They don't know the exact date, but they believe that one was written August 2nd. The original, the one that they passed out the states and stuff, was between May 12th to May 15th.
But not July 4th.
No. Still not July 4th.
Well, I mean,
July 4th is when they got together and voted all together. I was
going to say, to me, that's not that big of a deal because whether they signed it that day or not, that was still the day that, they had decided that was going to be our celebration of our independence.
Well, you
could have picked any day,
People back then didn't have the internet.
Yeah, no.
They didn't rumors spread fast, but they didn't spread that fast.
Right.
So when someone came out with May 15th, when they first posted that thing and they started sending it around, it took like months and months
to get everybody on the same page.
To let everybody know that they were decorating, like they were like declaring and stuff. And when they sent it over to the king was, he obviously everybody knows George as the Mad King.
Tyrant King George.
Yeah, well, tyrant and stuff, but he had went crazy.
Yeah.
And a lot of people speculate that this is the point in history when he started going crazy.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, that's a lot to you got this a bunch of your people, went over on boats to undiscovered land, set up colonies in your name and in England's name, and then all of a sudden here they are saying, we want a divorce. You're going to have to let us be free now, so bye.
So
I can imagine, he probably went pretty crazy.
Basically, do you know the story of the Liberty Bell?
How it got cracked?
No.
Oh.
I'm talking about, like Let Freedom Ring. When the Declaration was signed, there was a myth that they came and rang the Liberty Bell to signify independence.
Right.
So the Liberty Bell did not ring in the American independence. Despite the famous story about how a boy with blonde hair and blue eyes was posted next to Independence Hall to give a signal to an old man in a bell tower when independence was declared. The story was concocted in the middle of the 19th century by writer George Lippard in a book intended for children. The book was aptly titled Legends of the American Revolution.
Right.
There was no pretense that the story was genuine.
Right. So we don't know that actually happened.
Basically, on a lot of History Channels, movies, or documentaries and stuff, or anything like that,
I feel like a lot of history is speculation.
It is, because they didn't really write it down, really. But the whole point was, like, a lot of the stuff, the stories that we do hear about, like, George Washington's wooden teeth.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Or the fact that he Abe Lincoln
never lied, never told a lie and stuff.
Told a lie, stuff like that.
People make up stories about them, and it's usually not even in their lifetime. It's later on.
Well, I noticed it especially happens with famous people that get immortalized. Most people don't want to say anything bad about those people because, they got this even if they weren't, the best people, or even if they were just, ordinary people, they die, and then somehow their reputation just blows up, and then that down throughout the years, it changes and changes. And
what do you think how do you think the Liberty Bell got its name? Do you think it was in honor of the independence?
No.
No.
I
So where do you think the Liberty Bell came from? Like, where do you think the name came from?
Honestly don't know.
The bell was not named in honor of the American independence. It received the moniker in the early 19th century when abolitionists used it as a symbol of anti-slavery.
Aha.
And the famous crack, the bell cracked because it was badly designed.
Yeah.
It was just not put together well.
Right.
It just cracked. These are urban legends. I'm just letting you know, like false facts, basically. Yeah. It is also true that Betsy Ross did not, in fact, sew the first American flag.
Oh, that's what we were told too.
Despite the story that George Washington himself asked her to.
Most of these I was taught in school.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what makes it so sad.
It is not known who actually sewed the first flag, but it was designed by Francis Hopkinson, a signer of the Decoration Records show that in May 1780, he sent a bill to the board of the Admiralty for designing the flag of the United States. A small group of descendants worked hard to keep his name alive.
Right. So they're trying their best to be like...
Betty Ross didn't
do it.
Didn't even do it. And Francis Hopkins, the person who really designed the flag, didn't get any recognition.
I know, it's messed up.
And if it wasn't for his family, his name probably would have been lost to history.
Yeah, for sure.
You may have learned that John Adams and both John Thomas Jefferson didn't die on 4th of July, like I said before. Yeah. They did, but the well-known story isn't all true. On July 4th, 1826, Adams, the second president, and Jefferson, the third president, both died exactly 50 years after the adoption of Jefferson's Declaration of Independence. The country took it as a sign of American divinity. But there is no proof to the long-told story that Adams dying uttered Jefferson survives, which was said to be especially poignant as Jefferson had just died hours before without Adams knowing it. Mark that as just another story we wished so hard that were true that we convinced ourselves it is.
Yeah.
So
the American people do have a habit of kind of puffing up our chests and trying to...
And, of course, John Monroe
find reasons why we're the best.
Died in 1831 on July 4th. But with all that death, there comes a birth. And we did have a president born on the 4th of July, 1872. Calvin Coolidge, the 30th president.
Of all the presidents, Coolidge really
wasn't that bad. I mean, there's been worse.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's interesting. That's a lot of stuff I just learned that I learned in school was not true. So,
and like I said, there's been dark histories of the 4th of July, and I do want to get into one little thing that I find important. So basically, the 4th of July has always been a celebration.
Real quick, I don't mean to interrupt you. I know you're getting ready to go into this next thing, but in your research, you're looking through stuff. Did you happen to figure out when we started shooting off fireworks as part of the celebration for the 4th? When exactly did that start? Because
I know that.
And why?
When we started doing that, I think I did. I think I'm going to get to that. I think that's going to be one of the last things I'll say.
Okay. All right.
I think I have that in my research. So basically, again, there's always been a dark history in our past, especially with slavery, right?
Yeah.
So before the Civil War, white Americans from every corner of the country had annually marked the 4th with feasts, parades, and copious amounts of alcohol.
Yeah, same thing we do now.
Yeah, exactly.
It's exactly the same thing we do now.
Well, in 1875, a white mob came in to Vicksburg, Mississippi, and they broke up a Republican rally.
Which, as we know, back in the day, Republicans and Democrats were two completely different parties than what they are today.
Switched. Yeah. And they killed a black sheriff.
Oh, my God.
So the next year in the village of Hamburg, South Carolina, anger over a black militia parade on the 4th boiled over into a full-blown riot that left at least 7 African Americans dead at the hands of white vigilantes.
I don't know if we will ever shed the racist bullshit in this country. I really don't.
I don't think so either. And in 1902, white Atlanteans completed their commemorative coup with an elaborate 4th of July program. A children's chorus sang 3 patriotic songs, Dixie, the Star-Spangled Banner in America. A parade of local dignitaries, among them both Confederate and Union veterans, wound through the city. The nation's birthday was back where it belonged, in the hands of true Americans. Correct? So
they were basically saying,
but
only white people are allowed to celebrate America's independence.
This is the time of Jim Crow South segregation.
Yeah, of course.
So black people weren't allowed.
Yeah.
To celebrate it, basically. Yeah. And that's why a lot of historians believe that that's why they celebrate Juneteenth. Because that's when the amendment was signed, ratified, and that's why it's Independence Day from them. That's when they truly gained freedom.
Yeah. Well, so, even then it wasn't true freedom, but, you know.
But in the Declaration of Independence, Thomas Jefferson wrote, when he says all men are created equal, that's not what it said originally. It said all white and black men were created equally.
He made sure he was specific.
Yeah.
I see.
Because even though Thomas Jefferson did have slaves and he was not great to them, he did abhor slavery. And most of the founding fathers did, which is weird considering they all owned them.
They had them, yeah. Double standard kind of.
Yeah, kind of thing. Yeah, it's stupid. Anyways, but the rest of the signers of the Declaration of Independence didn't want that, so they ratified it and made it all. And they wanted.
Was this after
white men?
Jefferson and Adams.
This is the first draft and everything.
Oh, okay.
So basically, he took it out and he was like, okay. But they wanted him to put all white men were created equal. Yeah. So he said
he's kind of settled for the middle ground.
He changed it to all men were created equal,
and we still freaking screwed it up.
So, like I said, with the dark history and everything, and it's so important to talk about. It's not. We don't want to shy away from it at all because it is important to talk about. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to talk about, but it has to be talked about. I mean, that's. I think that's important anyways.
Well, if we're going to be diving into American history, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's no beating around the bush at all about with this stuff. Because, I mean, once we stop talking about it, we forget it. And it's too important to forget.
Mm-hmm. All right, so the fireworks thing, did you figure out?
Yeah. So basically, why do we set off fireworks?
Yeah. I mean, I've got some guesses. I don't know for sure, but I'm assuming that
Yeah. Well, according to History.com, which is where I got this information, the tradition of setting off fireworks on the July 4th began in Philadelphia on July 4th. 1977.
So it was recent. Yeah, recently. Oh yeah, I figured it wasn't like always done, but I did want to know exactly how recently we started shooting off fireworks.
So when the sky was lit up when a ship fired off 13-gun salute in honor of the 13 colonies. The same night, the Sons of Liberty set off fireworks over the Boston columns.
Well, that's cool.
So basically, that's where it came from. 1977. That's not where fireworks came from.
No,
they're like way older.
Yeah, yeah.
And they were invented in
Asian
China.
Countries.
Yeah, I think they were invented in China, if I'm not mistaken. But that's 1977. That's when History.com says
we started using them specifically for.
Yeah, which I thought it would have been a lot earlier.
I did too. That's why I was curious.
I know that they did when they did celebrate back in the 1800s and stuff. They did shoot off cannons and muskets in the air, of course.
We still do that
and
now.
Celebrate and stuff. Yeah, absolutely. But that's where like the fireworks shows that we have, the big celebration fireworks shows, and stuff. 1977 in Boston is where it started.
Really interesting.
Philadelphia.
Really
I apologize, Philadelphia. So I mean, with all that history. And we're a relatively young country, but there's not a lot of stuff that we do know about our founding fathers. We know more about Roman emperors from thousands of years ago than we do our own founding fathers, which is horrible.
That's weird.
In my mind, anyways. You may not like our country if you're listening from abroad, or if you're listening in our country, and
you're disillusioned with the way things are going right now. We don't blame you.
Yeah, absolutely, and we do have a very, very dark history. But that being said, we're a very young country, and we've made a lot of mistakes for being so young, and we have an ego issue.
Yeah, yeah,
but. There's stuff about this country that makes it great, and there's stuff about this country that makes it not so great. But I mean, that's with any country. You go to any country in the world, they're going to have a dark past.
Yeah, the idea of America is what is great. The idea of being able to go somewhere and be completely free and be able to live out your dreams and stuff like that. That idea, the American dream, unfortunately, that isn't reality.
It's not.
For
some people, for people who put in the hard work, and it's hard work. It's not you come to America and you get whatever you dream, and if you live in America,
it's automatic.
Yeah, it's automatic. You get the American dream. No, that's not how that works. It's hard work, dedication, sacrifice.
Yep.
Just like our founding fathers, they sacrificed everything to make this country.
Yeah.
And if you're and if you're an American, or if you're planning on coming to America to start over, to live that American dream, you're not going to get there just by showing up.
Yeah,
you got to show. You got to, our country was built on immigrants. That's fact.
Yeah,
100% fact.
Oh yeah.
And so, I mean, if you come here looking for the American dream, be ready to work for it, because it's not free.
Yeah.
That's one of the freedoms we don't have is the American dream. You got to work for that. But I know America puts off this air of importance superiority and stuff, and how we're the best country in the world, and it's
the average American citizen doesn't really. I don't think anymore.
I think
that way.
As an American, I celebrate 4th of July not because of.
I think
1776.
I think it is extremely important to have pride in your country.
Yeah, it is
extremely important. But I also think that you can take it too far, and it stops being prideful about your country, and you're starting to make it into more of a worship kind of thing, and something that
like our country can do no wrong.
Yeah, like not that we make excuses for things that we do and all this other stuff because we're such a great country and all this other stuff. We're allowed to be prideful. I mean, everybody has to some extent some pride in their countries or their home country's birthplace. Stuff like that. But again, like I said,
But there is a reason why everybody wants to come to America. In my opinion, we have the best food.
Because we eat here.
Yeah, we like eating. We're usually fat here, and for good reason. We have great food, and we have an abundance of food. But I mean, I didn't want this episode to be a bash on America.
No, absolutely
because I wouldn't want to live anywhere else but America.
Yeah.
But no, but we just wanted to let you guys know out there, especially those who listen to us abroad,
outside the
U.S., that the history about America, which unfortunately you guys probably know more about
U.S. history than the U.S. does.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've seen that a lot too. I've seen a lot of people talk about how they learned something completely different growing up in their schools than we did here. It's the same events, just from a different point of view.
Yeah, we with history we always put the fantastic spin on it.
Yeah, and not just that, but that victors write history. So
yeah.
Anytime that
it doesn't matter if we lose, we all we won that.
Yeah, we won anyway. Yeah.
Speaking of Vietnam and Korea, yeah, absolutely. Those two a lot of people don't like talking about them because those are the wars we did lose.
Yeah.
But everybody's like, no, it wasn't a war. It was a police action.
The loss
Like,
of the loss.
yeah, I know. Yeah, we lost, bro. But, yeah, and with probably World War III etching ever closer.
Yeah, no kidding.
So hopefully, if that happens, peace will find its day.
For real.
But thank you guys for joining us on July 4th. It's going to be a short episode because we don't want to keep you guys from the fireworks.
Yeah, celebrations.
Yep. So you guys have fun. Be safe. Use fireworks the way
Properly.
they're intended to. Don't blow off your hands or anything like that. Safe distance, all that stuff. But yeah, happy birthday,
4th of
America.
July.
Happy birthday, America.
Yeah.
Although we got a month before the real birthday. But all right. Thank you guys, and we'll see you next week for an unsolved episode, Georgia.
Thanks for listening.